trailer rigs.
It's game week for all of Stark County's high school football teams. Week 1 begins this Friday with numerous rules and regulations in place. We'll have our Sarshone Radio Game of the Week, St. Ed's at Maslin, our Stream Game of the Week, Marlington at Alliance, and our Alt Care TV Game of the Week, Jackson at McKinley.
The thing that we decided as a team and also with our Board of Education was that we were going to implement guidelines from the CDC, the Ohio Department of Health, ODE, and Canton Public Health.
Canton police have changed their hiring practices. They will not hire a person discharged or suspected of verified serious misconduct with another department. That's in addition to approval of the department's 8 can't wait policies.
The Republican National Convention gets underway today with the president planning to speak on all 4 nights. Meanwhile, one of his more loyal confidants, Kellyanne Conway, announcing she's leaving her post at the White House at the end of August.
We're seeing cases fall across the country, across the Sun Belt where the epidemic was. We're seeing deaths start to fall, and I think we're going to see deaths fall below 1,000 a day. So we're seeing hospitalizations fall, which is probably the most important indicator to watch.
The Palace Theater, Civic Center, and other live performance venues may be able to restart after checking the governor's order for the performing arts, his office making an announcement about that on Friday.
Some students on the Ohio State University campus in Columbus in quarantine before classes even begin. School providing a living space for those exposed to COVID-19. It's an option for students who can't go home. They'll get meals, medical help, and support for schoolwork.
Another 46 cases of coronavirus in Stark County over the weekend. Saturday appears to be a major reporting day for the county.
Cleveland Indians open up a very important series with the Twins tonight. Twins lead the division by a 1.5 games. You'll hear it here on 1480 WHBC at 6:35.
Your world in 1 minute.
Canton's Morning News with Pam Cook on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
You'll find more right now on WHBC.com. Canton's Morning News with Pam Cook continues now.
You know, we have been talking so much about parents and teachers and administrators learning to deal with this brand new school year. And it's important, though, that we find out what the kids have to deal with, because it's got to be so different for them. And we have with us this morning Perry Local Schools clinical counselor, Dr. Margaret DeLillo-Storey. Good morning, Margaret. How are you?
Good morning, Pam. Great. How about yourself?
Oh, doing good. And I'll tell our listeners, obviously they can hear us on air, but if you want to check us out on video, we do the WHBC video stream on Facebook, Twitter, and also we have a YouTube channel, so people can check it out there either now or later on. So Perry, is Perry back in school? They are back in school, right?
We are. We began with our freshman transition on Thursday. Then we had the whole district in Friday and back to school. Beginning today, it'd be their first full week.
So give me a little sense of what the kids are like when they come to the building. I mean, this is a whole new experience as it is for the adults, but they're so used to running up and hugging their friends after a long vacation and that kind of stuff, and they can't do it.
Right. And I think, the overall consensus, and again, my general feeling, it was not going to lie, it was great to be back and see my coworkers, see our colleagues, and feel like, okay, here's some progress. We're now back in a brick and mortar building. And, to prepare for the kids to come back, there was a lot that had to go into it because it's great that they're back, but school is different. Everything from signage to, where you can stand in the hall, how keeping that social distance, everybody wearing masks, communicating with masks. You're right. Wanting to see your friends and be kids and hug and poke around and play. And we just really have to be mindful and help the kids to help themselves not to do that. They're not doing it out of, disrespect or not wanting to follow the rules. They're doing it because that's where they're at in life. They're adolescents. They're wee little ones. They want to go up and hug and touch. And that's what we do. And school is a place very much built for social as well as academic. It's where they learn how to get along. And besides academics, how do we communicate? How do we connect? And what do we participate in? And right now, We have to do it, but do it very differently.
And what's their reaction? I mean, are they, I guess, trying as hard as they can to follow the rules?
Yeah, I think for the most part, kids did great, at least what I witnessed, and in my district only. However, in speaking with colleagues over the weekend, I can say too, safely, it sounds very much like the other district, that kids for the most part did very well. Again, we're asking kids, much like adults, and I think of myself, it's hard to be with something covering your nose and your mouth all day, every day. And as hard as we have to work for it, we have to help our kids to work for it, because it is strange. And so I think it's just gentle reminders. It's, just being mindful. Hey, put it up over your nose. We didn't have a whole lot of that. Truthfully, I think they're following the rules right now the best that they can. And I think just like with us, we're going to have to remind. And they're going to have to remind each other. And that's one of the things that we're trying to help is, listen, one of the best things we can all do during this pandemic is not only take care of ourselves and do the right thing, but help those that we love and care for to do the right thing. And that means saying, to my own daughter, hey, mask, we're going into the store, make sure it's covering your nose, because you get out and take that breath and you put it down below your nose. Or you're with your family and we don't necessarily wear it. And then someone else walks in or what have you. And it's like, oop, got to mask up. So it's just learning to live and cope differently with barriers to keep us safe.
There's part of me that thinks back to my kids, and I think they would obviously follow the rules, but
Sure.
I think it would be a novel experience as they started out, maybe for the first couple of weeks. Do you think it'll wane at all as they get into the school year and have to continue doing it?
I think they'll get used to the new normal. I'm not going to say any of
Okay.
us are going to like it, but I think we'll adjust to it and get used to it. But I also think for myself, gosh, I'm no different, Pam. I stepped out of my office to go to the restroom that's 2 doors down. And I'm thinking, oh, I walked out and immediately did an about face to grab my mask. Now, there was nobody there, but I did pass another office. And I'm thinking, geez, it was that simple of not that I didn't want to. I'm just not used to stepping out every single moment when you're going to be amongst people and covering your, face and nose in a school building. None of us are. So I think with kids, what you're going to see is you're going to see those different things of them returning. There's going to be confusion. There's going to be anxiety. There's also excitement. I get to get back and I get to see my friends. And, there's going to be fear. There's going to be frustration. And I think that's where we're going to all come into play as educators in the system, is to help continue to educate that, yep, we get it. And not be afraid to say, I told one of the kids in there too, they're like, this stinks. I said, it certainly does. But this is what we need to do to keep us all safe. We're not going to play that it doesn't. It really does, but it's what we need to do to be back here, to see each other, to have some, social connection, and to be back in a school building. So we're going to do it.
Any tips for parents if they have a child that's really struggling with it all?
Yeah. And, one of the things is absolutely to pay attention to your child. And when I say that, I mean, with kids being home, we've gotten to see differences in their behavior, and they adjusted from school back in March to the routine they established at home, whatever that routine was, they had to establish that at home. Now that routine is shifted. So it makes sense that you may see a shift in behavior. You may see some changes in their sleep or eating habits. You may see some changes in, their anxiety level. You may see some changes in what they're eating and how they're eating. And, if they're talking, not talking, crying, being upset, or just simply closing down and expressing fear. So I think what we have to do is take a look at, notice the differences. Please don't be afraid to have the conversation with your child. Don't be afraid to say, how was school? What do you think of school? The other thing that's always really good for parents to do, myself included, even though my children are older, I have younger nieces and nephews and neighbors that, if we're having a conversation about what's going on, try to be mindful of the little ears or the younger ears around you, because they're trying to navigate it too. And a lot of times our kids will assume our fears and our anxieties without the understanding of what's what the undertow is. And unfortunately for us, if you turn on channel 3, you hear something different than 5, then 9, then 19, then CNN. You listen to the news and it's like, oh my gosh. And we're all trying to navigate those waters. Well, our children are too. And as much excitement as there was for some to come back to school, there's fear too, and understandably so. And not necessarily fear of what's going on at school, but remember, our kids have been home safe with mom and dad for 5 months, or whomever the caregiver is, and now they're leaving. So sometimes that fear while they're at school is what's going on at home. So
yeah,
have
absolutely.
conversations.
Great point. Absolutely a great point. Margaret DeLillo-Storey, we appreciate you coming on this morning. Always get a lot of good information from you, and stay safe. Have a good school year. We'll talk again
Thanks,
soon.
Pam. Take care.
This is Dr. Stan Anderson. You end up having this anxiety about how the world is now changing. Be calm. You simply take care of today.
1480 WHBC Sports. The Sarshone Ford Radio Game of the Week.
Comes the pressure back over the middle. He's got him, and he breaks free. Handing the ball with all that beef blocking up in front. Good drive.
Any major adjustments at halftime, Coach?
The Sarshone Ford Radio